down to its very foundations. If the most they can come up with to go against us is that they didn't get told the name of the movie, we think we're on pretty solid ground. I mean, they should be able to come up with something a heck of a lot better. Come up with an explanation of how organic life evolved from inorganic life. Come up with an explanation of where the laws of gravity came from. Then we'll start talking.
In the course of making the movie, was there anything that surprised you? Anything from the interviews or anything from what you discovered that maybe struck you more than others?
Oh, I was very horrified by the visits to Germany, where I especially went to a death center called Hadamar, where the curator of the death center, where people who are mentally retarded or deficient in some way or not considered physically perfect representations of the Aryan race, were put to death. And I said to the curator, do you think the people who ran this camp were insane? And she said, no, perfectly sane. They were just following the science of their day. And I said, well, what was that? And she said, Darwinism. They were following Darwinism. And I said to her, if you were able to talk to those people right now, if they reappeared in life ahead of you, in front of you, the people who ran this place, this horrible, devilish, hellish place, what would you say to them? And she said, it wouldn't be my purpose to say anything.
Yeah, I was struck by that too. Why were you stunned by her reaction?
Because it's such a scary totalitarian follow the leader kind of attitude. Anyone I would think in a democratic country like the United States or a free country where people think for themselves would say, well, I would say to those people, you're criminals and you're evil and how dare you even show your face. And her idea was pretty much, well, they were in charge then. It was their call. Let them do what they want. And that's a very, very bad view of how to conduct your life.
One thing I did want to ask you about is that at least link between Darwinism and Hitler's regime.
Right, it's a close link.
In some ways, you are not saying, I don't think, that Darwinism led. What link are you saying?
Well, I'm saying Darwinism leads to social Darwinism, the idea that there are superior and inferior races. And, in fact, Darwin believed that very explicitly himself. And now Darwin believed that it was a mistake to let the inferior races breed and let them multiply. That's explicitly stated by him. The Nazis took that a bit further and said, not only are we not going to let them breed, we're going to kill them. And but when they did that, they thought they were helping Darwinism along, and they thought they would just push Darwinism forward by several centuries by killing the Jews and other people they deemed inferior right then and there. I mean, the Darwinists, I would say probably the Nazis would have found some rationale to kill the Jews without Darwinism, but Darwinism made it awfully convenient for them.
What do you hope is the impact of the film, the result of the film?
We would like people to have a free, frank discussion. And here we go about origins, about evolution, about the question of whether man is intelligently designed, whether there's some spark of the divine in man. If man is just animated mud struck by lightning, which is what some Darwinists said, then he has no moral content whatsoever. If man has a little touch of the divine within him, he has plenty of moral content, and he has got to express himself in moral terms and has got to behave in moral terms. If man is mud, no, he owes nobody anything. If man is a creature with a little teeny spark of God within him, he has to behave in a better way. So we'd like people to get that idea. Most of all, we'd like to get the idea across that Darwin got across in a letter to his friend Asa Gray, in which he said, I can't understand whether I'm right or not. He said, I have a theory, I don't know whether I'm right or not. I'd like it to be discussed. I'd like it to be debated. It's too complicated for anyone to understand at any one time. The only salvation is in endless discussion and debate. We'd like to have endless discussion and debate.
David Lieb of the Associated Press asked you during the news conference why you were here in Missouri. I wanted to ask you that as well for this interview.
Well, we're here to help Representative Cunningham in our tiny little way with her bill for academic freedom and to enhance the academic freedom of teachers and students who question scientific dogma, and so they will not be punished or disciplined if they express their views about questioning Darwinism. We don't want them to say ridiculous things like that the earth is flat, but if the person has good, sound, solid evidence are good, solid, sound questions, we think they should be asked.